Hello friends, welcome back to the third part of the topic centroid and center of gravity, where basically today we are going to see two different things or two different terminologies, that is axis of reference and axis of symmetry, and we are also going to see the differences between the two. So quickly moving towards the content, let us see what is axis of reference first. So the CG or centroid of any figure is calculated with reference to an assumed axis. This axis is known as axis of reference. So in my previous lectures we just saw what is centroid and what do you mean by center of gravity and these all things. But when we are asked to calculate these things, what we need to do is we will just put up a reference axis. For example, if we are taking this T section, if we are asked to take out or find out the centroid for this T section, then what is our first step is to draw a reference axis with reference to which we will be finding the CG, right? With reference to which we will be finding the coordinates in x and y direction. So this, both the axes, vertical and horizontal on the extreme left and the extreme bottom, which I have drawn here and shown reference axis, will be our first step. So now we know how to draw reference axis, right? On the extreme left hand side a vertical line, and at the extreme bottom we are drawing a horizontal line. Now in order to find the centroid for this T section, what we should have is an x bar and a y bar, that is an x coordinate and a y coordinate. That is, this is the x coordinate, x bar, and this is the y coordinate, that is y bar. And joining which two, we will be getting G, that is centroid for this T section. So in short, our main concept was reference axis, that is this red colored axis what I have shown here. Now our next task is axis of symmetry. The axis which divides any figure in two identical parts is known as axis of symmetry. So this one is quite easier compared to axis of reference. Now what we are looking here is to divide all these cross sections or these shapes in two identical parts. So suppose if we want to divide this T section in two identical parts, then we would be drawing a line in y axis, right? This a vertical line we will be drawing. This is our axis of symmetry for this particular T section. Now again for this C section, if you want to divide this portion or this shape in two identical parts, then we will be drawing this horizontal line. This is our axis of symmetry. Again, now if we talk about this I section, then both in x and y axis we can draw symmetrical axis, right? This is in y axis, this is in x axis, which means that this is symmetrical in both the axes. This I section is symmetrical in both x and y axis, while this T section is only symmetrical about y axis and this C section is only symmetrical about x axis, right? But see now here this L shape is not symmetrical about any of the axes. Now what we need to note down here is, if any figure is symmetrical about y axis, then it is very easy to calculate x coordinate. That is, let us take for example reference axis on the extreme left and the extreme bottom. Now in order to move in the x direction, then we know that we have to move this much, that is exactly half of the major dimension. This is our major dimension, so we have to move this much. Now if any figure is symmetrical about x axis, then what we need to do is draw a reference axis. Now we know that if we want to divide this, then we just have to move like this. So y coordinate is available directly, exactly half of the maximum direction, I mean maximum dimension over here. In short, if any figure is symmetrical about y axis, then x coordinate is directly available, and if any figure is symmetrical about x axis, then y coordinate is, that is y bar is directly available, that is half of the most, or we would say greatest dimension. Talking about this I section, if any figure is symmetrical about both x and y axis, then drawing a reference axis, we directly know how much the x coordinate is and how much the y coordinate is. In short, if any figure is symmetrical about both the axes, then both x and y coordinate are directly available, that is half of the greatest dimension. But here, if any figure, any cross section, any shape is not symmetrical about any of the axes, then we'll have to calculate x bar and y bar in both the direction, in both the axes. So This is bit tedious, but in I section we'll be getting centroid directly. Again repeating quickly, for this T section we have x bar directly available while we need to calculate y bar. In this C section y bar is directly available and what we need to calculate is x bar. And in this I section both the x and y bar are directly available, so we can easily find out centroid for this section. While if we talk about this L section, x bar and y bar both needs to be calculated. So friends, this was the concept of axis of symmetry and axis of reference. This is all for today, and wait for the fourth part of the topic, centroid and center of gravity. Thank you for watching.